Welcome back to the Everything Hoops YouTube channel. I'm Lance Caprosi, one half of the duo that is Everything Hoops. Please subscribe and hit that little bell button. Today we're talking the top 5 NBA duos that we deserve that we did not get. All right, coming in at number 5, we have Chris Paul and Anthony Davis. Now, this is a bit of a stretch because the timelines don't really fit. Chris Paul had already been out of New Orleans for 2 years before Anthony Davis was drafted. But just imagine these two running the pick and roll, the pick and pop. They would be dominant. Anthony Davis was the complete player Chris Paul needed, and Chris Paul was the point guard Anthony Davis needed. They needed each other. We didn't get it. It would have been fun for 66 games per year. And I'm sure in some universe out there, this duo is still wreaking havoc on the NBA. Number 4, again, this one is another one of those that is a stretch because, again, the timelines don't quite add up. But it's Brandon Roy and Damian Lillard. This duo right here would have been incredible. The playmaking, the all-around game, and the scoring ability and the leadership from Brandon Roy, timed with the scoring of Damian Lillard, we would still get Dame time, we would still get the isolations, but then we get him relocating around the perimeter with Brandon Roy feeding him constantly. This would have been one of the best backcourts in the history of the NBA. I guarantee it. Again, unfortunately, it didn't happen. I don't even think it would have happened, but it's just fun to imagine. Because if Brandon Roy had been healthy, I don't believe the Portland Trail Blazers would have been in position to draft Dame unless he slipped a little further in the first round, which is honestly not impossible to think about because he did come from a small school. Coming in at number 3, this one almost did happen back in 2010, and it is Andre Iguodala and LeBron James. This duo almost happened. We've seen them battle it out in the NBA Finals. We all salivate at the thought of these two playing together, especially in their primes in Cleveland. This would have changed the landscape of the NBA. If the Cavaliers could have pulled off this trade for Andre Iguodala, there would be no LeBron James in Miami. They would still be going to the NBA Finals in Cleveland. There would be no Kyrie. There would be none of that. But still, we would get, the most modern day MJ Scottie Pippen, or really it'd just be two Scottie Pippens on one team together, which is not any slander at all. If you don't remember, back in 2010, the Philadelphia 76ers, they were looking to trade Andre Iguodala, dubbed AI 2.0, which is ironic considering he was not the same scorer, but instead, he was an all-around player that could do everything, and he could score a little bit. If you think this duo wouldn't work, explain to me how Dwayne Wade and LeBron James did. It just happens. Coming in at number 2, this is one of those duos that, it was so close. I just can't believe the one big-time scorer decided to request a trade at the time, and that is Tracy McGrady and Dwight Howard. Tracy McGrady was the 03-04 scoring champ, but the Magic went 21-61. Doc Rivers was the head coach. He went 1-10 before they let Johnny Davis take over. The year before, Tracy McGrady lost in the first round. So the Magic, they were just on a down year. But, man, it was the perfect time to tank because Dwight Howard, the high school phenom, was coming in. The Magic took him number 1 overall. And then Tracy McGrady requested a trade. Ended up going to Houston, teaming up with Yao Ming, where they still didn't do much. But could you imagine the scoring of Tracy McGrady and then the defense of Dwight Howard? They'd be an incredible 1-2 punch. And Tracy McGrady was still only in his 20s at that time. This duo could have dominated the Eastern Conference for a number of years. All right, number 1, the trade, the duo that we all wanted, that we almost had, and that was Chris Paul and Kobe Bryant. We all know the story. New Orleans was bankrupt. The league owned the team. They wanted to sell it. They needed to have someone on the roster that made a buyer be excited. So they revoked the trade. But let me tell you, at the time, I didn't think this trade would work because I'm thinking, man, you got a ball handler like Chris Paul. He needs to dominate the ball. Kobe loves to go in isolation. But, man, just imagine. If he can make it work with Devin Booker today, he definitely could have made it work with Kobe Bryant. There would have been a little bit of issues going forward. But once they figured out each other's games, this would have been a nightmare duo for the league for a number of years. All right, just to recap the top 5 duos that we didn't get but that we deserved. Chris Paul, Anthony Davis at number 5. Number 4 was Brandon Roy and Damian Lillard. Number 3 was Andre Iguodala and LeBron James. Number 2 was Tracy McGrady and Dwight Howard. And number 1 was Chris Paul and Kobe Bryant. Don't forget to check out the rest of the videos, especially Bryce's breakdowns, but you should go to Apple, Spotify, or Google, or really wherever you listen to podcasts, and check out the Everything Hoops podcast. Leave a comment, give a rating, subscribe, and tell a Hoop fan. And if you don't agree with my duos, drop a comment below to see and tell me who your top 5 duos are that we didn't get.